Hey, how's it going? So you're fine. Very good. Alright, so guys, Joe actually talked a lot about this, about Pharmanex and kind of the founding of Pharmanex and stuff, so we won't really go into that. But one thing I do want to, I guess share with you, he's really humble. You don't really hear him say, well, this is what I did or this is what's going on. Pharmanex was founded by three scientists. Dr. Michael Chang, he was deputy director of medicinal chemistry at Merck. So he was their top scientist, and in 1994 was the largest pharmaceutical company in the world. He invented Memicor, which is still today the #1 used statin drug in the world. Okay? Joe Chang was that same title, so he was the head scientist at Wyeth Labs. He invented a few different drugs, but the main one is called Rapamune, which is an anti-rejection organ transplant drug. It's still today, it's 50% of all organ transplants in the world. You're going to get a shot, once a day or once a week from Rapamune to make sure you don't reject that drug. And then they also partner with a guy named Dr. Carl Gerasi. You can see right here, he actually passed away, I want to say about 6-7 weeks ago. But he was the inventor of the birth control pill. So you got, basically say he single-handedly stopped the baby boom. But, those three people, based off of their credentials, they raised that $46 million from Fidelity, Eli Whitney, and the Johnson & Johnson family. And that was still to date the largest venture capital startup for any nutrition company ever. Still is today. And it was because of what these guys had done before him. It was their credentials. And so when he talked about why he let Nu Skin buy his company instead of the other, it was Wyeth Labs and Pfizer, the other two companies that were trying to buy him from Nu Skin. They all had the same offer. Nu Skin ended up buying it for $135 million plus stock. Most of that in stock. But the reason Nu Skin wanted to buy him, because of research engine. You can't attract, as a network marketing company, that stereotype, that stigma, that's just not with us. That's also with everybody else, right? They think they're fly-by-night. They think they're all hype, no substance. You think all kinds of different things there. But you're not going to attract the head of Wyeth Labs and the head of Merck and the chief inventor of the birth control pill, who's the head of the Stanford chemistry department. You're not going to bring them in-house to build your science department from scratch. It's just not going to happen. But you can't buy their company, and then they have to come. That's why Nu Skin wanted them. They had 5 products. Those 5 products are still products we use today. T-Green 97, Reishi Max. Those are products that we have today. Colestin, all of that kind of stuff. That wasn't the main reason they bought them, though. It was the research engine. The one thing Joe didn't talk about was why you were contractually had to stay here for 5 years. Why have you been here 15? When I've asked him that question, it's been because Nu Skin has always exceeded what they told me they would do. So why would I leave? I have a $100 million R&D budget here. I'm not going to get that anywhere else. I have all of the toys that I could ever want here, as well as 3 other duplicate labs, 1 more in the U.S. and 2 in China, and our own clinical research center. Why would I leave when I can do all the best science in the world? I can do it here. But you got to buy somebody, bring them here to show them that before you can attract them to, leave that pharmaceutical world. Does that make sense? I honestly think he is the reason why Pharmanex is so successful. By far and away, the guy's just really, really smart. He knows his stuff. I have never, in 13 years, and I've brought a lot of out there people, but I've never brought anybody in that he couldn't sit down and trump. Every single time. He looks at him. I brought one guy in one time that had this product that was so phenomenal and cured this and did that and everything else. And he kind of said, well, let's move to the boardroom. And he grabbed me and he's like, how bad do you really like this guy? You know, how much do you really like him? I was like, I don't really know. I was like, okay, perfect. And he walked in and he was like, I could recreate your product today. He's like, there's nothing proprietary. I can do it and I can do it better. And he went through and laid out, I mean, after just looking at the label and stuff, he just laid it out for him in 15 minutes. I was just like, holy cow. The guy was dumbfounded. You know, he just sat there and the meeting didn't end well, but Joe was just like, you know, this guy doesn't know his stuff. And no, we're not buying your product. You know, there's nothing in there. And some of these guys on the scientific advisory board, and we've heard about Lester Packer, Paul Cox, the medicine man guy, you know, Thomas Plover and Richard Weindrup. Those guys, if you look, you know, who was it? You brought up the A4M conference, right? What's the only theory of anti-aging that's ever been studied and proven? Is it caloric restriction? Have you seen those studies? No, but well, there's if you start asking these people, you know, what is the theory that's actually proven, scientific proof that this will increase longevity and lifespan, and it's really caloric restriction. These guys pioneered that. They did a 20-year clinical study. It took them 5 more years to write it up and get it published. It's 25 years invested in proving that if we ate a very, very well-balanced 600 calories a day, we would live longer and healthier lives. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I had that for breakfast this morning, so it's not, you know, it's not going to fit for me. But, you know, you start to look at that and you start to think, you know, about that. Well, we went out and we partnered with that company. It's called LifeGen Technologies. And you start to think, okay, well, not only did they prove that, but how did they do it? And what did they do? And how did that work? They have a 20-year live tissue sample bank of tissues that have been fed caloric-restricted diets, and so they know the genetic makeup of how it should look if you were eating that meticulously, you know, weighed out 600 calories a day diet. So if you were doing that, now we can take natural products and get it to mirror it. Get it to perfectly mimic and get the same genetic output or genetic expression that was happening if they were doing that. We're the only company in the world that can do it. LifeGen Technologies patented the process, they call it heat mapping. So they created what they call a gene chip. So there's 30,000 chips in the genes in the human body. They can map them in less than 10 minutes. They can tell you how they're expressing themselves in your body. Unfortunately, right now it's about $5 grand a pop to do it. It used to be 10. They think in a few years they'd be able to do it for less than $100.
That used to take a couple of years before, right?
Now that it takes a few minutes. It's amazing, you know. But they own the process to do it. We purchased them. We own it now. They own the patent rights. If you Google LifeGen Technologies, you can look up their patents. They own the patents to measuring genetic expression virtually for every organ in the body, specifically by organ. And now we own those patent rights. When we bought it for $15 million. It wasn't a big buy. It was the promise of hundreds of millions of dollars for research. You know, and so all of our ageLOC products, both on the skincare side and the nutrition side, are coming because we can measure genetic expression. No one else can. You know, no one can do what we're doing. So when they say, well, there's the telomeres, yeah, I mean, just step back and logically think about this. 30,000 genes in the human body, and you're telling me one of them controls aging.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense. You know, that really just logically in my mind, that does not make sense. In fact, I can't remember if it was Clinique or L'Oreal, but they had a skincare commercial last year that says resveratrol. You know, our product's got resveratrol and it cures aging, basically. Right? What happened? They got fined $100 million for saying it because they had no proof. Because there is no proof that resveratrol alone stops the aging process. It doesn't. It's one gene. It can't do it. But what if we can take in the skin, there's 60 genes that we have proven, that as you age, they change the way they act. They change the way they express themselves. And we can get all 60 to be back within 92% of where they were when you were 20. And we can do that. We got about 5 products that can do that for the skin right now. That is revolutionary. Okay, there's 52 genes in the mitochondria. That's something that A4M talks about all the time, is mitochondrial aging, right? Okay, we have 52 genes in the mitochondria that can change as you get older. Right now, we can get those 52 genes to act the way they did when you were 20, within 92% of it, within a week of being on our product.
And that's the R2.
It's R squared or Vitality, they both do it. R squared also does it at night, it helps with cell regeneration, but you talk about mental clarity, libido, 76, 80-year-old guys that are in our group that are putting muscle on.
76, 80-year-old man.
Yeah, Tanya King, her husband. I mean, he's after about a month of being on Vitality, he started actually building muscle again. Which, humanly, that's not supposed to happen. You know that, physiologically, it's not supposed to work that way. And that started just happening. All that kind of stuff. It's amazing, amazing stuff. Koji Nakanishi right here. Why do we have a ginkgo biloba product that works? He was the guy that discovered the active ingredient for ginkgo biloba. And the cool thing is, you can look at these guys, look at it from this standpoint too. Every one of you are here because you want to make sure that you associate yourself with a company that's not going to tarnish your reputation, right? Is that fair? Okay. What do these guys have to gain from associating themselves with a network marketing company? We pay these guys less than $30,000 a year. Nothing. Look at Lester Packard, Koji Nakanishi. They're in their 80s. This guy's got 700 peer-reviewed published articles and white papers. He's got 70 books, 69 of them are college textbooks on the antioxidant free radical theory. He's got the Packard Labs at UC Berkeley named after him, and yet he decides to associate himself with Nu Skin? Really? Do you think he really needs 30 grand a year to do that? He is risking way more than I have ever risked to associate himself with a network marketing company. Yeah, Antioxidant Miracle, another awesome, that's the only one that I understand. But when I was at BYU, and I had to give a speech for an entrepreneur business class that I was in. So I thought, well, might as well learn about antioxidants, give a talk on antioxidants, and help me in this. I couldn't find a single book in their library that wasn't written by him. Not one book. And he went on CNN Money and said, this validates my entire life's work. I started to look at that and I think, okay, as a business person, I could start up another company tomorrow. I can declare bankruptcy on this one and go on to the next one. He's got his name, and that's it. He's in his late 80s. He associates himself with the wrong company. He's toast. It doesn't work that way. And yet these guys are willing to not just be on our scientific advisory board, but speak on our behalf at conferences around the world. To me, that speaks pretty loud. So let's go to this next window real quick. Go through that.
Can you